Lesson 8.1 was so long I divided it up into 3 parts. 8.2 is going to be astonishingly quick. Let's start with multiplying monomials and polynomials. Remember that monomial is one something and polynomial is 2 somethings. So if we want to multiply 2x times 3x plus 1, all you have to remember to do is distribute. You have to distribute this 2x and multiply it by 3x, but also multiply it by 1. So you end up with 2x times 3x equals 6x squared plus 2x. There is a diagram in your book on page 480 that actually shows this same thing, and it's kind of clever if you take a minute to look at it. They've got 3 distances that they just said were equal to x. Here's x, 3x, 1, 2, 3. Here's the 1. Here's the 2x that we had outside the parentheses. And then you can see, if you work your way across, x times x gives you x squared. X times this x squared, x times that x squared, x times 1 just gives you a single x. Same thing across the bottom row, x times x gives you an x squared, and so on. And then if you add up all these boxes, you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 x squared plus 1, 2, x, which is exactly the answer we came up with distributing. Take a look at problem number 1 on page 480. We've got a negative x cubed outside the parentheses and then a trinomial, or as you might rather say, a bunch of things inside the parentheses. We're going to distribute this x cubed all the way through here. Now, not so long ago, you finished a whole unit where you were doing things like multiplying x cubed, negative x cubed, times 9x to the 4th. 30 lashes with a wet noodle if you say x to the 12th. No. Negative x cubed times 9x to the 4th is going to give us negative 9x to the 7th. Negative x times negative x cubed times negative 2x cubed is going to give us positive 2x to the 6th. We are adding these, not multiplying them. And negative x cubed times 7 is going to give us negative 7x cubed. At this point, something a little different. I want you to go right now to page 483 and do number 9 to 14 in your math notebook. Let's go ahead and check your answers for those problems. Notice up here on number 11, you can say 30m squared plus 3m cubed, but that's not exactly in order. It's better if you say 3m cubed plus 30m squared. And I'm going to slide my book to make sure you could read those last few. And as soon as you've checked those, we're ready to move on. Our next step is factoring. How many years have you guys been factoring now? It must be forever. So, if you are given 3x to the 4th and you break it down into all the things that you multiply together to get that, that's what it looks like. If you factor, negative 9x squared, it's going to look like this. If you factor negative 12x, it's going to look like this. So, if I give you these 3 terms and say what is the greatest common factor of those 3 terms, what do they all have in common? Well, they all have 3's in common, and they all have x's in common. So the greatest common factor of these 3 terms is 3x. I want you to practice this a few times. Page 483, number 15 through 20, find the greatest common factor of those 6 problems. And once you've got them done, here are your answers. We are now up to problem 3. Technically, I'm on page 481. Given this problem, 9x to the 6th plus 15x to the 4th plus 12x squared, we want to first find the greatest common factor, which you know how to do, but second, we want to factor it out and figure out what trinomial will be left. So, step 1, find the greatest common factor, which obviously is 3x squared. At least I hope that's obvious. Second, if you take 3x squared out, what's left? Well, remember we started with this trinomial up here. What do you multiply 3x squared by to get 9x to the 6th? 3x to the 4th. Same thing, what do you multiply 3x squared by to get 15x to the 4th? Well, 5x squared. And what do you multiply 3x squared by to get 12x squared? 4. Hang on, I'll do that in slow motion for you.
Okay, here are the 3 terms that we were working with in this last problem.
And we figured out that the greatest common factor is 3x squared. So that means we have used already all these factors that I just circled. Take a look and see what's left. 3 and 4 x's. 3x to the 4th. What's left here? 5 and 2 x's. 5x squared. What's left here? Just a 4. And that is what we put inside the parentheses. All right, I'd like you to practice this a few times on your own. Page 483, do number 21 through number 26, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, can't quite fit the whole thing in one screen, so I'll move it around a little bit. There's 21, 22, 26. Last but not least, your classwork. Enjoy.